fear through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with a win. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, danced a jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still happy life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Backyard Beers and Football. This is our second episode of the second Philadelphia Eagles segment for AMYP. I am the host, co-host, Shane, and I'm joined by my host, co-host, Rob. How are you, sir?
I like to think of us as the primary.
All right, I dig it.
I think Kelly Greenhour should be the secondary. We'll be the primary because we're a lot funnier than they are.
All right, I accept. We are the primary Philadelphia Eagles show here now at AMYP. But Rob, how are you?
I am doing just fine. I feel liberated for a number of reasons today, but more importantly than that, football season is here. And even though the Birds did not look good last night, a lot of people overreacting. It's just a preseason game. Calm down, people. Football is back, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is, and it is coming at a hell of a good time considering our Philadelphia Phillies, who were supposed to be giving us so much summer fun.
Haven't even watched the last 3 games.
And you've got to be happier for it, man. I have fallen asleep midway through each of the last 4 games, I want to say.
I missed all one of the hits that they had last night.
Yeah, Caesar. God, they are god-awful, which makes the fact that football season being back just that much more welcomed right now for everyone here in Philadelphia. So our Backyard Beers and Football segment is a little lighter than the Kelly Green Hour. As you guys may have figured out from our last episode, we're going to have a good mix of actual football conversation and analysis on the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we're also going to take some time to have a little bit of fun as well. And just as you would be if you were sitting in your own backyard, throwing back a few beers and listening to podcasts like people do now in 2019, which is the only reason we have jobs. Yeah. So thank you so much.
And by the way, you totally should listen to Kelly Green Hour. They actually are pretty awesome. They're just a little bit better.
Pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
Elle and Connor are, first of all, they have fantastic chemistry, which is really welcomed when you're listening to its audio segments, and it's really nice for me when producing or editing those shows. Makes it go a lot easier. But yeah, so we do now have 2 Philadelphia Eagles segments here at AMYP. So let's get things started here. We'll recap the first preseason game, the overreaction of all overreactions from the entirety of the city of Philadelphia. The Eagles lose 27-10, and that doesn't matter at all. The only real thing that does matter is the obvious news to backup quarterback Nate Sudfeld breaks his non-throwing wrist after starting the game going 10 of 18 for 177 yards and that 70-some yard touchdown, which was the only touchdown for the Eagles last night. He looked good leading into that.
They said 6 weeks, correct? And that's including the final 3 weeks of the preseason?
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm not even worrying about backup quarterback then. He's only going to miss the first 3 weeks. Whatever.
Yeah, it's the whole reason people have to now overreact is the fact that Cody Kessler is not a real quarterback, and Clayton Thorson should, I don't know, never, ever suit up again. That is the one overreaction right now that I'm pretty sure you can't actually overreact to how bad this kid is.
And also people are talking about it because there's a certain guy named Kaepernick who's still a free agent.
Look, there's a handful of guys. You have Kaepernick.
But people are going to talk about Kaepernick, though, because they're going to talk about him whenever they get a chance.
Sure. And it won't only be here in Philadelphia. It'll be anywhere where injuries occur, anywhere where depth is not what it appears to be, especially with Kaepernick once again coming in and stating, he does intend to play, and if he was to get an offer, he would be keen to take that. But as you mentioned, it's 6 weeks. It's his non-throwing hand, so he's going to be able to come back and probably come back even if he's a little bit uncomfortable. Again, as a backup quarterback, we have the utmost trust in Carson Wentz, obviously, in terms of talent. He's coming into this season healthy. I personally, would you play him at all this preseason? I wouldn't.
No, I definitely would not. And I saw, we're going to talk about tweets that we disagree with a little bit later on, but one tweet that I saw from Shore Parks that I did agree with is absolutely do not play Carson Wentz this preseason. There's no reason to. We already know what he is. We already know how well he can go out there and adjust to opposing defenses without having, a preseason under his belt. He did it last year.
Yeah, I think the NFL as a whole, look, they're obviously moving away from the significance of what the preseason truly is for all these guys. Practices aren't as involved as what they were, and they aren't as intense as what they were under all the new agreements for the NFL. You're seeing a lot of players see 3, 4, maybe 5 series in the entire preseason. We played, Jordan Howard got 3 carries. Who the hell else? There was almost no starters played. And again, week 1 in preseason, that is what it is. But I wouldn't expect too many of these starters to be getting any more than a series or 2, in game 2 and 3. And then they're not going to play in week 4. It's going to be Clayton Thorson for until clock hit zeros, and that's going to be 14 interceptions later.
That'll be must-see TV against the New York Jets up at the Meadowlands. Buy our tickets now.
Dude, Gase is a fucking nutcase. Do you see that smelling salt stuff? Like, just everything he does, he just looks like a guy who's strung out on everything. He's nuts.
I didn't see that, but I saw that, I don't know, it's completely unrelated, but I didn't hear anything about that.
Were you going to say the AB thing? Filing a grievance over his helmet?
Well, yeah, I did see that, but
hilarious.
That wasn't what I was thinking of.
All right, so let's talk some standouts here for you. Obviously, you didn't watch all of the game. I covered the game there, and I think we left around 5 minutes into the third quarter. So I didn't see any of the last 27 minutes of the game. But for you, let's talk one of your standouts.
Well, from the highlights that I was watching, and I watched kind of extensive highlights, whatever I could find. Deshaun Hall had a really nice game. Mm-hmm. Had 6 tackles, 3 of them for a loss, including a sack. He hit the quarterback twice. So obviously he was doing good things. He was getting pressure on the quarterback. He was getting into the backfield and wreaking havoc there. He was really the only guy who had a standout game on the defensive side of the ball, but for him to put up numbers like that, that's pretty impressive. Even if it's the first week of the preseason going against second teamers, if he's a guy who's going to be, fighting to move up on the depth chart, that's certainly a good foot to start off on there.
For sure. And again, people do forget he was a former third rounder just 2 years ago, and had it not been for an injury, he would have had a far more significant chance at making Carolina's roster. So he's a guy that was just, again, found himself just on the wrong side of some circumstances, and the Eagles may have found another depth piece there, and he's currently probably like a bubble player right now, but he's intriguing to say the least, and he was everywhere last night. Everywhere on the field. So that was really encouraging to see. Josh Sweat for me on the defensive side of the ball looked good at times, looked great at others, and then kind of looked lost. So it was a little bit of everything. But the one thing that you notice with him is his speed is insane. His ability, when he is, they talk about players who have this incredibly high motor only for a few plays at a time. Well, he looks like he's kind of going to be that guy. He doesn't look like he can really, give you 70 snaps at 100%. I'm going to bull rush every single time. He looks more like a guy who's going to have to pick and choose his spots. And I don't know if it's from that awful knee injury he suffered in college, also in high school. I don't know if it's due to the injuries that occurred for him last year. Maybe his body just cannot withstand that. But as a rotational guy who's going to be out there for the Eagles, I think that he could have an explosively good year. So I saw a lot of encouraging things from him. And then also Andre Dillard. It was important, obviously, to sit there and see what we have in the future at tackle for us, protecting Carson. He has the most important job of anyone in Philadelphia outside of Carson himself. And he looked really, really fucking good. Another guy who, I think he only had 3 targets. He had 2 catches for 20-some yards. But flashed on special teams as well. It was Arthega-Whiteside.
JJ.
Yeah. Yep. So, again, another one fairly fairly nice showing for preseason week 1 for those guys. Let's talk concerns of the game. So, again, I know you didn't watch the game in its entirety. I also did not watch the game in its entirety. I feel like we should probably get Al on the cell phone here and bring him in to give us some of his key concerns. But I would say for both of us, it's probably the quarterback depth right now, and what we see from obviously a now injured Nate Sudfeld, who looked good, but that's certainly applying pressure to Cody Kessler and to Clayton Thorson.
Clayton Thorson, yep. It's going to be a tough name to remember. But
it's not going to have to. I don't think he's going to make the team.
It's a concern for right now, but to me, it's a short-term concern. Like we said, it's only a 6-week injury for Sudfeld. So he'll be back, by week 3, week 4 of the regular season. So that's a short-term concern. The running game did not look great last night.
It did not.
Certainly left a lot to be desired, but once again, who cares? It's week 1 of the preseason. They'll get it going. They have plenty of talent there. So that's not really a concern for me, but if I had to pick between the two, it's the depth at the third-string quarterback position.
Yeah, not great. And it's not a good look for the organization to sit there and draft a kid pretty impulsively at 5. They were looking to take Easton Stick in that same round, and went a pick or 2 right ahead of the Eagles there. And I felt like they were just kind of pressured into, shit, we thought we were taking a quarterback, let's take one that we think was available anyway. Connor had mentioned on the Kelly Green Hour how this was a guy that they probably could have gotten as an undrafted free agent. And he certainly looks it. He has not had a good camp by everything that we've read, and certainly not a good showing last night. So that's quarterback depth is definitely a concern. I don't have legitimate concerns about the running game long term, so I think it's probably why I left that one out. But they did not look good last night. Jamal Adams, Josh Adams, that was a fumble that he really needed to not have.
I did see that one. I was sitting at the bar. I did see that one. That was not a good look for him. Yeah,
that was tough. And then again, mentioning that Jordan Howard only had the three carries or so for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 yards, something like that. Just not a lot of room to run there. I think they only had a team total of 35 yards rushing last night.
Something like that, yeah.
Not
Smallwood, he got in for a couple carries. He was kind of insignificant as well. So, not a good look for them, but I'm not worried about it.
No, not long term. Because again, it is the preseason. Now, one thing that we will add to each one of these bits is when diagnosing a game the day after or the coming days after is one player on that team and on that roster for the Tennessee Titans. If you could take them and put them in the Philadelphia Eagles locker room as a member of the Birds, who do you take?
That's really tough because looking at this and breaking it down position by position, I don't see a single position where the Titans are better than the Eagles. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Derrick Henry just because the Eagles' running game left a little bit to be desired last night. And as much depth as the Eagles have at the running back position, they kind of lack that bruiser that LeGarrette Blount was 2 years ago. And that's the kind of guy that Derrick Henry is.
Well, that's kind of what Jordan Howard is, too.
He's a younger version of LeGarrette Blount and a bigger version of Jordan Howard. Yeah. So, while I think the Eagles overall, they have a better group of running backs and they're going to be pretty good there this year, I think that Derrick Henry is the one guy from the Titans who I'd like to have on the Eagles.
I respect it, but I would go Ryan Tannehill.
Backup quarterback. That was my second option right there. That was my second choice.
So for me, it was going to be Ryan Tannehill even before he got hurt. Not Tannehill, before Sudfeld got hurt. I know I'm in the minority. I definitely do not hate Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill is what Nick Foles was. He's a backup quarterback who should be a starter on most teams.
Yeah, he can't. He's not overly flashy, but here's my thing: he's always shown the ability to be a more than competent and more than mobile quarterback. Not mobile in a sense that he's going to run, but he can escape the pocket and do a couple creative things to extend plays and smart things just to keep and protect the football. again, not overly flashy, but he's a guy who's thrown for 3,500 for 4,000 yards a season, mid-20s in touchdowns, and the mid-teens in interceptions. And put him in the Eagles' offense. God forbid Carson Wentz went down, which I'm not saying he will, and I don't think that he will. But put him in with that Eagles offense, that's far more talent than he's ever had in his entire life lining up. Certainly in Miami. So
yeah, he's never had. He's been victimized by bad coaching staffs throughout his career. He's been victimized by not having much talent around him throughout his career. So he's the kind of guy who, kind of like Nick Foles, if you plug him in a good system and you put talent around him, he's an effective quarterback.
Very
and
much
it's kind
agree.
of a shame that he's a backup in Tennessee because, like I said, he's better than a backup.
I think he's going to be starting by week 7, maybe 7 or 8.
I could see that as well.
Yeah, I don't think what's his name's that great.
I'm not a Mariota guy either.
Yeah, not a.
He's
not
had his chance.
A huge fan.
Yeah.
Tannehill also, lady, she's a babe.
Yeah, she is. So points for that.
I would definitely welcome that. And I'm not prepared to say that thought did not enter my mind when making this decision. And I will promise you that I will never pick someone who does not have a beautiful partner in some particular respect.
There you go.
But all right, so let's move to another little bit here. Eagle out of the nest. So we talk so much about Eagles football here on the show and on Kelly Green Hour, and we talk about the product on the field. This is an opportunity now to kind of talk about the character that's in the locker room or some of the likes and interests of some of our favorite Philadelphia Eagles. So Eagle out of the nest is going to be about taking just quick 60 seconds, 2 minutes just to sit here and talk about any one of the Eagles, any one of their foundations, or again, one of their likes or interests and things of the sort. Rob, we'll start with you.
I think Lane Johnson is the most interesting Eagle out there. Just because of some of the stuff that he's gone on the radio and said during training camp. The fact that he's a real, like, kind of down-home country boy from Oklahoma. He said that he still uses the flip phone. He's still, like, got all those, I don't know, kind of down-south country boy things going on. He hasn't really adapted much to living in the Northeast and, a super urban metropolitan setting. So, yeah, Lane Johnson for me will be my pick for that.
I dig it. Lane is hilarious, by the way.
He is hilarious.
He is so damn funny. And yeah, again, that interview, that had so much gold. The flip phone thing where he was like, yeah, I lost all my music, but I listen to Sirius Radio, Outlaw Country. And I'm like, dude, I love this guy. You are a good dude. So I also went with something a little bit, for music taste and things of the sort. Jordan Mailata. So last year during camp, he was definitely one of those rookies who you could tell was just, damn, I'm so happy to be here. Here I was a few months ago playing rugby, never played football in my life, and a professional sports organization as smart and as well respected as the Philadelphia Eagles drafted me. So last year he looked like he was just loving life, and he was playing guitar and singing in the locker room. There was all those videos going around, and the dude's got a crazy good voice, and he's really fucking good at guitar too.
He sang the Halo introduction song.
I think it's a different guy.
No, I'm pretty sure that was him.
Really?
I'm 99%.
I think they had the Halo
him.
kid, and I think they had someone else.
I'm 99% certain that it was Mailata who sang that.
We'll have to check that because I'm 99% certain you're wrong. Regardless, he has an amazing voice. And here's why I'm choosing him now. So he was not who I originally took for this. I was going to talk about a different player's foundation, and I'll save that for another time. But last night, and the vibe around him is so much different this year. He's only, again, it's his second year. The hype was so high when people sat there and started saying, damn, this kid could be one of the best tackles in football if they can develop him into that because of his athletic freakish kind of characteristics, his size, his speed, everything there. And it hasn't really worked out yet. And he's kind of getting blown up at practice and getting blown by. And there's talk of him not making this football team. And you can tell he hears that. Now, he didn't have a terrible game last night. It was encouraging, honestly, because, again, from all the reports we see, this guy might be on his way out. So seeing him play even competent football was, okay, it's coming along. We're seeing the process. For him, he was not cool with it. You could tell he was short in his interview. He was frustrated by his play. He said he felt good to be out there, but there's a lot of work to be done. And I respect that because that's exactly how I would have answered that as well. So for me, Mailata, because I feel as though we're the same interview, for one, I would love to sit there and just eat a bunch of barbecue with you and play guitar and just hang out and just backyard beers and football with Jordan Mailata.
It would be pretty awesome.
It would be pretty awesome. And in case he's unemployed soon, we can have him on the pod, because what the fuck else is he going to do? But so that is my eagle out of the nest. So we got Lane Johnson and we got Jordan Mailata this week, each for kind of similar reasons. A connectability issue there with the two of us.
Exactly.
Which I dig. Now, you mentioned earlier a tweet in which you agreed with ESP, Elliot Shore Park, a Eagles beat writer. This is a Torch a beat writer segment. So we each have, let's set it at like 3 minutes. Torch the tweet. Start with anyone that you'd like.
I'm going to start with the one who I agreed with earlier on. ESP put out a tweet, I think it was maybe earlier today or yesterday, saying that the backup quarterback position is a top 10 position of importance on the Philadelphia Eagles. And I couldn't disagree more. And the reason for that, well, the number one reason is that I believe Carson Wentz is going to stay healthy throughout the season. So we're not going to see the backup quarterback until hopefully week 17 or maybe even week 16 after we lock up home field in the NFC. So I just think that, I mean, it is important. I'm not going to deny that it is important, but you can't rank it ahead of a starting position on either side of the football, and you can't rank it ahead of punter and kicker. Because you're talking about a guy who, if Carson Wentz stays healthy, and like I said, I think he will, you're talking about a guy who's going to play maybe 2 games this year, probably only 1, and probably, maybe even only a handful of snaps. So backup quarterback, yes, I could see why we think it's important. After the last 2 seasons, we've needed Nick Foles to go out and win a Super Bowl for us. We've needed Nick Foles to get us into the playoffs because Carson Wentz was hurt. Like I said, Carson's staying healthy this year, and because of that, backup quarterback is almost a negligible position for the Eagles. It is somewhat important, but it's definitely not top 10 importance on the football team.
I actually kind of agree with him. Only because I would say for other teams your logic is correct, but for us I do feel as though we have enough depth most places. And the depth at quarterback, man, that's something that obviously we've needed the last several years here. So, but I also then agree with your logic in the fact that I really don't have any issue or trust concerns with Carson's ability to stay healthy. I know I have nothing to support that at this point in his career, but I do think that he's going to have a full season of health this year. So.
Well, he's been injured just about every year since his rookie year.
He's been injured every year since fucking high school.
Yeah. Even his rookie year, he broke his ribs in the preseason. He still played all 16 regular season games. But he's due to have a season where he plays every game, or he's fully healthy at least. So it's not a concern to me. I think it's kind of overblown, this concern with him potentially getting hurt just because he's been hurt 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and it's not like he's a reckless football player. He is actually fairly careful, and he does take the necessary steps to sit there and protect his body when he has to, whether it is sliding or diving or getting rid of the football. He does hang on to it a bit, and maybe he takes a shot, but it's not a prime shot. So, I think that they were freak things. I've never seen someone tear their knee up the way that he did. Just being hit in midair by 2 people, it was just bizarre. I've never seen that happen before. And then again, rushing back from a knee injury, your body isn't quite the same, and that's probably where the back came from. So I don't really have concerns. But I have 2. I also went with an ESP one, and it's weird because I don't disagree with it. I hate the fact that it's right. So I'm going to take that. Also, I hate the fact that it's right because, 1, I hate ESP.
Snotty little
2,
weasel.
He is I hate his voice, man. He's got a punchable face and an actual, literal punchable voice.
I've never met him in person, but he looks like he's that guy who's like 5'5", maybe weighs like 130 pounds, and he talks like he's better than some of these football players sometimes.
So when I got there last night, we're walking into the link, and there's one other fucking car in the parking lot.
ESP.
Who's getting out of their vehicle, and it's him. And I'm like, he's surprisingly a little taller than I anticipated, but he does walk with that stick up his ass nose in his fucking thing. Like, he's just higher than the world, and I'm like, you're a fucking beat writer, man. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It's pretty much, I mean, he was appointed as WIP's pretty much go-to guy for everything Eagles related.
I don't know how, but sure, I guess, whatever. But he put out a tweet, and it was in reference to the Josh Adams fumble. So it was basically stating that it's plays like that are going to end up having Wendell Smallwood make this team in place of Josh Adams. Now, personally, I don't even hate Wendell Smallwood the way that most people do. Like, I think he's okay. He's serviceable for what he is. My whole point is we know exactly what he is, and we know it's not that great. Let him move on. Josh Adams, he is a nice back. He certainly can't be a guy who's going to get 20, 25 carries a week. Like, that's not going to happen. But he has a unique skill set, and when he is used and used appropriately, I find him to be far more serviceable than what Wendell Smallwood is. So I hate that I agree with the tweet from ESP. It drives me goddamn crazy. And it's the content that I'm at right now. Because somehow, some fucking way, Wendell Smallwood's going to make this goddamn roster. And what are people going to say if he makes this roster over a Josh Adams, if Josh Adams ends up having a nice preseason with the exception of this fumble? What's going to happen if he makes this roster because they feel safer with him than Corey Clement? What's going to happen? Philadelphia's going to fucking hate this man.
Yeah.
Can't have that. Cannot fucking have it. Wendell Smallwood's going to find a goddamn way to get on. My other tweet is from John Barchard, a guy who Go Birds Pod, another WIP guy. And I'm not angry at this tweet, and I see the logic behind it. To me, it's just, well, the tweet is, Jordan Mailata played 93% of the snaps last night, and he needed every single one of them. Yes, he did need every single one of them, because he needs every single snap that he can get. My thing is, that does tell a player who, as you could tell from that interview, he is a little frustrated that he has not come along as quickly as maybe the Eagles thought he would. Playing 93% of those snaps last night when he looks to the left of him or to the right of him, depending on where he is at any given time, and he's got a different person out there, he's got to not feel great that he is playing 93% of the snaps in preseason week 1. And I do worry about how guys handle that. But we'll see. But this week's Torch a Beat Writer, which it's going to end up being just Torch an NFL person in general. So whether it's ESPN, it doesn't matter. But we didn't really torch them this week, so we'll have to. So no one really provided that much content because it's preseason week 1. So I do look forward to the regular season when this happens. Yeah,
you're going to be finding a lot more content that you just straight up completely 110% disagree with.
Make me drop my goddamn phone.
Because right now during the preseason, it's kind of, the tryout season, and you're going to see the beat writers tweeting about guys who are kind of fringe players that maybe
don't really matter.
Us casual fans don't know as much about.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to get that emotionally angry at something like that. And each of the guys that we talked about, Barchard and ESP, both make me throw things on occasion. So
ESP makes me throw things every single time I hear him on the air.
It's true. Barchard I actually like a lot. But ESP, would you call him a weasel?
Yeah, he's a weasel.
That was that's pretty spot on.
He is a weasel.
So let's go to your current favorite Philadelphia Eagle and Lane Johnson's Groundhog Advice Column of the Week. So for all of you guys who did not listen to the pilot episode or listen to the WIP interview that Rob referenced earlier in this show, Lane Johnson had a groundhog problem this summer at his house. So when they asked him what the best part of his summer was, he said, I don't really know about the best parts of anything, but I know that I got a groundhog in my yard that's pissing me the hell off, so I guess I'm going to sit there and call an exterminator or shoot it. I don't know. Something like that. So he had asked the guys on WIP if they had any advice for him. So we took that as the kind of namesake for this particular segment. So since we have not marketed this well yet, because we suck, because I suck, I'm not great at Twitter, We do not have any relationship advice. We do not have any groundhog advice for this column from you guys. So instead, this week it will be again Rob asking me for advice on something that is going on in his current existence, and me asking advice from Rob for something that is going on in mine. So, Rob, we'll start with you.
This is a situation that just came up within the past couple days. So I've been, for the past couple weeks or so, I've been trying to plan a trip to a hiking trip to go up to Vermont on the last full weekend of this month. After I go through some stuff that I have to do with the Air Force, I'm finally going to have a free weekend. I was planning on going up to Vermont for like a Friday to Monday kind of deal, a long weekend hiking trip up there, just having some fun, shooting the shit, you know, a bro trip kind of deal. Meanwhile, the people I was planning on going up with, they want to go down the shore that weekend. So I enjoy the shore, but I only enjoy it for an afternoon there. I don't like to stay a whole weekend. It kind of runs its course within a day. So, do I work harder to try to convince my friends to come up to Vermont with me, or do I just say fuck it and go solo?
So, first of all, you shouldn't have to work hard. Like, you need to get some new friends. If I'm being honest. So, if your guy friends if they want to go to the beach instead of, you know, go somewhere where you can fish and drink and do whatever, they're fucking wrong about it. So I don't have advice for you. I have advice for them. Don't be such asshats. Jesus Christ. What I would suggest you do, though, is you drive everywhere, right? Like,
yeah. Well, actually, there's a train that goes from Philly up to the town that we're going to go to stay in Vermont. So take the train up is what we're going to do. And basically, the hotel is right there, so we don't even need to rent a car, and we could just
get up and get out and go.
Yeah.
That's pretty quality. Well, I was going to say, just keep fucking driving. I told you last week, I had no fucking idea where I was going on vacation with my father. I assumed since we were going for 2-3 days or whatever the hell it was, that it was somewhere close. I thought we were going to, I don't know, Virginia, maybe Maryland. 4 or 5 hours later, after being in the car, I'm like, so where the hell are we going? It's Outer Banks. At that point, I was committed. I was not about to say, let's turn this car around. So we go to North Carolina. So what I was going to suggest is put them all in your car and just don't stop driving. Sorry guys, I got lost. Damnedest thing, we're in Vermont. And then you get your weekend. But first of all, quality decision going to Vermont. Good stuff.
It's a nice place up there.
Yeah, second of all, your friends fucking suck. So sorry to hear that. That is
Fair
shit.
enough. I agree.
That is shit. All right, so my advice is, or my need for advice is a little bit different.
Okay. Let's hear it.
On Kelly Green Hour, LJ brought up to Connor how I've never won a bet in my life against LJ. Our black book of bets are filled entirely of losses to L. For whatever reason, LJ and my father, no matter if we're betting on something, if we are playing a video game that I haven't done in 15 years, if we're at batting cage, it doesn't matter. The two of them will beat me in everything always. And here's the thing. I'm now beginning to have that run over everywhere else too. I no longer can bet effectively. So Connor, again, brought this up on Crossing Borders, another one of our ANYP segments, and he sat there and he was making fun of me. So my question is, and my advice that I need is, do I hang it up? Do I just stop betting now and just quit while I'm no longer at all ahead and just try to limit my losses? Or do I just change the pattern with which I bet? And rather than doing sports bets and prop bets and things of the sorts, that I just go back to doing what made me good with gambling and playing poker?
Well, to answer your question, I'm a big believer in everything in life evens itself out one way or another. So I would encourage you to stick with it and change your pattern. Because there's something to what LJ is betting on, that he's always right and he always, beats you in these bets. So I would say stick with it, change up your patterns, maybe do some different kind of research, look into, the in-depth analysis of why certain outcomes become a reality in what do you normally bet on? Sporting events, right? That's about
Without? Yeah.
Yeah. So here's
the thing.
Do some research on the game, do some in-depth kind of stuff, some analytics. I know you're big on analytics for baseball. So go with that and keep doing it, but change up your pattern a little bit.
So I think the issue is he's like the smartest sports person I've ever met in my life. No matter how much I hate his logic at times, the guy is right all the fucking time. And when he makes these bets, he makes them because he genuinely believes, fact-based, he's in a better position to win. Meanwhile, I am sitting here saying the Browns are going to go 16-0 last year. Like, how fucked? So I'm a guy who just bets with I hope, with him. So maybe it is. Maybe I have to sit here and go and tap into the analytics of my own betting board.
If I remember correctly, didn't LJ make a few bets that are looking pretty damn bad with the Phillies? Something about Franco, who's now playing in AAA. Something about Gene Segura leading the league in hits, and he's having a nice season, but he's nowhere close to leading the league in hits. Something about Hernandez hitting like 300 or something like that.
We just talked about some of that. I had him guest on In Cap We Trust when you were out last week. And we went through some of those because I had mentioned this to him, how he's right about fucking everything. And he's like, well, I'm not right this year about a lot with the Phillies. And I was like, damn.
There's something about Arrieta winning like 17 or 18 games as well. That's not going to happen.
So he ripped off like 5 that he is or is at least looking so far like he's going to be wrong about. Yeah. But man, that's an anomaly. That guy is... Look, if he starts... All right, you know what? For all of our listeners, you need to follow LJ on Twitter. It's at LJ Harrell 54. It's LJHARRELL 54 on Twitter. I will have him from now on place our bets on Twitter for you to see, and it would behoove you to bet whatever the fuck LJ bets, especially if he's betting against me. So, Rob, thank you for the advice. I think I am going to kick it over to poker or tap into some actual analytics instead of just fucking around on these bets with Al, because I am losing money left and right.
And while we're on this thought, I need Al to come down to Parks with me and go to the sports book.
I think I still have all of Steve's slips here. Yeah,
I just saw that. I swear to you, I did not get the idea from that by looking at Steve's slips. I didn't even see him there.
So he texted me this morning. He was like, hey, I need you to send me a picture of my whatever the hell soccer game was on this morning. He was like, send me a picture of that slip. I need to know what the hell I bet. I'm like, how do you not remember what the fuck you bet? But sure.
Well, he put a good amount. He put a $10 parlay on the Chiefs to win the AFC, the Eagles to win the NFC.
Yep.
So
that's $10
that's a potential
loss.
payout of $325 though. So that's a good a smart bet by Steve.
It's not going to happen, but sure. It's
only $10 and you could win over 300.
Yes, that's my issue. Every time I make bets with LJ, it's only $5. It's only the breakfast sandwich. It's only 8 gallons of chocolate milk. Like, it's only this, and then those onlys add up, and next thing you know, LJ's my landlord. Like, we don't know what the fuck is going to go on. But that has been the Lane Johnson's Groundhog Advice column again. So if you guys have any advice that you want throughout your weeks, life advice, sports advice, relationship advice, whatever kind of advice that is that you are seeking, please, by all means, reach out to me or Rob. You can reach out through our DMs, and we will be sure to anonymously tell your story and answer your advice column for you without using your name or the people's names who may be included or the workplaces that may be included. We will change that up for you. You can also reach out via our email at AMYP. It is amypodcastteam@gmail.com. And you can also find us on our website, www.alwaysnextyearpodcast.com. So, funny storylines is another thing we like to sit here and take a look at. Last week we gave you a serious and a funny. This week, for time's sake, we're going to roll in and just do a humorous, comedic type of storyline we are excited about for week 2 of the preseason, where the Philadelphia Eagles fly out of Jacksonville. See our good old friend Nicky Six, Big Dick Nick, 9-inch Nick. How many different names can we call a backup quarterback Nick Foles? PDN.
For short.
So let's go. I'll start this one off. You started off each of the last few. So a semi-funny storyline that I will be looking out for is that I'm curious to see how Jalen Ramsey reacts when he picks off Cody Kessler. Cody freaking Kessler. I still think that this man is going to lose his damn mind. And then I think that when Foles throws an interception to any one of the Eagles D-backs at this point, I can genuinely see Jalen Ramsey throwing a fit on the sideline, OBJ style, and then whipping his out and pointing at it, stating, mine's bigger, you a old man, mine's fucking bigger. I think that could happen. I don't think that's too far-fetched from the personality that is Jalen fucking Ramsey.
Yeah, he's kind of a piece of shit.
He is a piece of shit, man. I'd love to have him, but he is a jackass.
He's like the Antonio Brown of defense.
It's a quality comp.
Antonio Brown's the jackass on the offensive side of the ball in the NFL, and Jalen Ramsey is his counterpart on the defensive side.
Yep.
I could see Jalen Ramsey picking off Cody Kessler, running it back for a pick six, and then to celebrate, he rips his jersey off, rips his pads off, reveals a shirt that says, "Show me the money."
That's awesome. Oh, I like that one a lot better than mine. I went through so many different things, and they all went against or went like about Jalen Ramsey. Like I was sitting there thinking, like how he showed up to training camp in that fucking money truck.
Yeah.
Like you got to be shitting
Ridiculous,
me.
man.
So I was trying to think what kind of vehicle he would show up in to the first preseason game, and I was like, it's not going to be a preseason game that he goes all out on. It's going to be the first regular season game where he's going to show up in like a Nick Foles mobile or something. Like, who fucking knows?
Oh, man.
But Jalen Ramsey, what a goddamn character. So yeah, not a whole lot of funny storyline opportunity outside of Jalen Ramsey in the week 2 matchup there. So we both went with that.
I actually went with, is Nick Foles going to have a locker room shrine built for him down in Jacksonville?
I don't know what's Chris Long up to these days.
I don't know, man. They're talking about bringing him back to the Eagles at one point.
Wow.
It still might happen.
It
I wouldn't be
may
opposed
now.
to it.
Yeah, look, for 15 snaps a night, if it was something he would agree to, very, very serviceable out there. I talked about that with Connor, I think, on Crossing Borders. He thinks that it'll be Connor Barwin before Chris Long. But
I tend to agree with that.
yeah, I think so too. Only because I think that he would willingly accept that kind of role and money. Whereas I don't feel as though Long is really... Like, I think he's okay with being retired. I think.
Yeah, judging by the tweet that he put out, the retirement tweet, I think he's perfectly fine with retirement.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So this one, I created this category specifically because a former Eagle who is, I guess, new to social media. I don't know. But man, he is just desperately trying to stay relevant by any means necessary. So
Donovan?
a relevant Eagle of the week. So here is a category where we're going to sit here and we're going to talk to you about any one of the current or former Philadelphia Eagles who are completely cementing their place in irrelevancy to us and to the city of Philadelphia. So we'll start with you, Rob. Who do you got for us?
I'll start with our boy that we've talked about a little bit before, Clayton Thorson. I think that after this preseason is up, his tenure as a Philadelphia Eagle is going to be over.
Do you think anyone's going to take a chance on him?
No.
Like,
His tenure as an NFL football player is going to be over.
How do you recover from being this fucking bad?
Yeah, you don't.
Like, I don't get it. And this could be, I know I said that I don't really think there is a level of overreaction that could be considered overreaction when discussing him because he's been that bad. But I do wonder, he was still fucking, no, I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see how he is at all going to make a roster anywhere in his fucking existence. He is.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be
bad.
irrelevant. In 2 years, 3 years, people are going to forget he even exists.
I agree. All right, so my irrelevant Eagle for the week, and I am proud of this one. I am not proud that I follow this character, but I do. Freddie Mitchell.
Fred X. He was on my short list.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about then. So he had tweeted this out regarding the preseason alumni day, which is what the Eagles had at halftime last night for various members of the Eagles alumni program. Here's the tweet. Eagles fans, I'm hurt. The Eagles are having an alumni day during preseason. Sorry, I had to print all of this out very tiny, and I do not have glasses on right now. Players sacrifice so much to be treated like shit. I talked to players around the league about this, and they laughed. Most of them appreciate their alumni during the regular season. Alumni deserves better. Now, that is funny in its own right because, hey, they're still fucking honoring you. He didn't get invited, apparently. So he responded to someone who stated this, and this is the part that I find funny. Someone stated to him, they do alumni stuff every single game, Fred. And they do. There is always someone there. Always. And Freddie Mitchell responded, yes, for the chosen ones. Bring out the tiny goddamn violin now, you weasel of a fucking first-round pick out there in UCLA. What a damn bum. One goddamn catch, and you're going to sit here on fucking social media like this?
That guy's going to ride 4th and 26 all the way to the grave, isn't he?
Oh my God, yes.
All the way to the grave.
What a punk.
And that was just, honestly, he did nothing more than just do his job there, and Donovan put the ball right on the money.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Donovan guy. I never liked McNabb, but that play was made by a great throw by McNabb, and
for
Freddie
sure.
did nothing more than doing what he was supposed to do, which is run his route and catch the football.
And are we sure that after all these years, are we really sure that he was past the line?
I am.
You are?
I am, yeah. So I've watched the replay numerous times on YouTube.
I mean, I've watched it a million times too. It always looks like he caught it a yard short.
I think that he caught it right on the marker, and then his momentum for a very brief second carried him past the marker, and it was enough to get the first down.
I mean, I accept it, obviously. But, yeah, one catch. Are you really an alumni? If you're that much of a shit, like, would they put Danny Watkins in for alumni weekend? Like, are they going to let his dumb ass show up after a blown first-round pick like that? No.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
He is an ass.
And speaking of one catch, what was it in 2004, the Super Bowl? One catch for 9 yards?
Oh, I don't remember his stat line.
Yeah,
I can't imagine
one catch for 9 yards.
Thank you.
He had as many receiving yards as Terrell Owens had receptions in that game.
T.O. had it on one fucking leg.
Yeah.
Had a killer Super Bowl. All right. So normally we have a mailbag section here and some more talking points and different things like that. This week we did not advertise this segment yet, again, because this is a new segment that we are trying to get to grips with. Rob's on, 3-4 shows. I'm on 5 shows and editing God knows how many articles a week. So we did not put out the mailbag reminder, but please do always remember that we have the mailbag available to you. It's a mail take bag, anything Eagles related, or as this show is basically just us sitting around with beers, talking football and anything else. You can ask us anything that you'd like. Again, it is at ANY Podcast. You can get me on Twitter. It's at Shane_Mead or Rob at Radio_Rob. We're going to end this one with Rate the Drink. So it occurred to me as one of our new listeners took a listen to our segment last week, and he said, damn, you guys had nothing to say about alcohol, and your show is called Backyard Beers and Football. So those of you who know me know that I do not drink, so this segment is titled this for Rob. So what Rob is going to do is he's going to tell me what kind of week he had, and then he's going to tell me what drink specifically meets his fancy based on the kind of week that he had. So Rob, I will rate the drink and your week after you tell us the short story as to why it is what it is.
It was a pretty, a little bit of a crazy week, hectic at work, a lot of people kind of inconveniencing me in different ways throughout the week at work. Not coworkers, not owners, any of that kind of stuff. Mostly customers. Customers always kind of piss me off. So, drink of choice for the week is I'll go with like a 12-pack of Miller Lite.
A 12-pack of Miller Lite. Yeah. So,
this is, after all, backyard beers in football, not backyard mixed drinks in football. Not backyard spirits in football. So I'm sticking with the theme of beer here.
Sticking with the theme of beer. All right, so you're going 12-pack of a light beer. Your week sounded very Northeast father who just doesn't want to deal with family, wife, kids, work, or anything.
Yeah, it's more or less what it was.
So I would say that you've selected the correct beer, but as underwhelming as that week is, as is your drink choice, so my score out of 10 is a 3.2. I think that you can.
Beer. You can't give it more than like a 4.
I really don't think you can. This is coming from a guy who doesn't drink. But for the underwhelming week that sounds like you had, I would give you the 0.2 on the 3.2, specifically because you went for a 12-pack as opposed to a 6. So good on you there.
Yeah, 6 wouldn't have been sufficient.
6 would not have been sufficient. And at like I said, basically you are a guy who is, I go to work, I go home, and I crack a beer.
Exactly.
Not a whole hell of a lot of more
I'm a
substance
simple man.
there. Simple man, simple pleasure, simple drinks.
By the way, I know our favorite follower, Miss Nasty, she would have given me a 0 because she is a bourbon and whiskey girl.
Yeah.
And light beer is like poison for her.
I don't think it's poison for anyone. It's just underwhelming. Any final thoughts here for Backyard Beers and Football, our Philadelphia Eagles segment here at AMYP?
God damn it, stop overreacting to the preseason. It doesn't matter. The games literally do not count for anything. I think the year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they went, 1-3 in the preseason that year?
Yeah, preseason doesn't matter. You see the Lions tweet?
No, I didn't see it.
The Lions tweeted out in their last 16 preseason week ones, they're 12-4.
That's impressive.
I was like, why
they have
the
to win at
fuck?
some point, I guess.
Oh my god! I was like, who mentions this? Why?
Remember the year, it was 2012, the Eagles went 4-0 in the preseason, and they went 4-12 in the regular season?
I'm pretty sure that the Lions 0-16 year, they went 4-0 in the preseason.
They did, yeah. And
So-
I think the Browns went 4-0 in their 0-16 season as well.
Did they?
I think they did, or maybe like 3-1 or something like that.
That's brilliant.
So basically, the worse you do in the preseason, the better you're going to do in the regular season.
Not that there's any actual correlation to that, but it
there's
certainly
not.
seems that way.
It's just that the teams that know that they're good don't play their starters as much.
Why would you? They're already proven. They're already there. They're already good.
So I don't care if they go out and lose by 25 points
No.
every week in the preseason. It doesn't matter to me. I'm still sticking with my guns. The Eagles are going to have a great season this year.
I agree. Excuse the yawn. I've had a very, very long day. My final thought is the fact that I really, really dig the Eagles cheerleaders. I'm not typically a cheerleader guy. I'm not really a big dancers guy or Flyers Ice Girls guy. Like I appreciate
love
them.
Ice Girls.
Look, I'm not going to say that I'd turn any of them down in any particular respect, but like it's always they're there. That's fine. Yeah, nice showing by them, and they were a good company. Also have a male cheerleader this year, which I'm cool with. Don't really care. I don't understand why it's a thing, but everyone else is mentioning it, so I suppose we should. Good for you. You killed it.
I'll just look at all the other ones out there.
I really don't care.
I don't care that he's out there. I'm just going to look at all the other girls that are out there.
I don't know. But Eagles football is back, and I'm so much happier for it. Al was right all along. Football town. I don't like that he's right, but he is
It's
right.
always been a football town.
It really
always
probably
will be.
has.
It always will be.
All right. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap everything up here for Backyard Beers and Football at AMYP. Whew, I gave her Twitter handles already, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I gave everything. All right. So a quick word from our sponsor before I forget then is Just Food, 215-794-3663. That is 215-794-FOOD. Treat yourself. Take it home. Catering service. They have an in-store location in Buckingham Green Shopping Center in Bucks County, PA, just above Peddler's Village, if you are familiar with the area. Sandwiches, regular entree meals. They make their own homemade chips that are fucking great. They make their own, like, I don't know, seasoned popcorn of some sort. I don't know. It was in a bag. I didn't try it, but it looks fucking delicious. And then a bunch of different kind of jams and things like that. And you know it's good because it's expensive as fuck. Yeah. Jams are. Everything else is affordable.
I'll tell you what. I drove past there yesterday, and the line was just about out the door.
Honestly, I've never gone there and there not be people in there. Really, really good stuff over there. Ask for Asian Rob and let him know that Shane from AMYP sent you, or Rob from AMYP, or any of us over here at AMYP. He will definitely hook you up. And again, as mentioned, he actually put together a vegetable tray for us for a family party that we're taking for tomorrow. So, Rob, thanks, man. We appreciate it. It is Just Food, again. 215-794-3663. Treat yourself. Take it home. Our other sponsor is our intro-outro music, the Jackdolls. Please support the Jackdolls, a local Renaissance type band, an Irish folky rock kind of band. If you like our intro outro music, you'll like the rest of their stuff too. It's www.thejackdolls.com. They also have local shows coming up for the Philadelphia and New York Renaissance Fair, that circuit there. They will be performing 3, 4, 5 times a day, 5, 6 days a week for pretty much the remainder of summer and into early fall. So if you want to see them live, and I highly suggest that you do, again, go on to, I should know the website right now. Whatever. Search the Philadelphia, New York Renaissance Fair, and you'll look for the Jackdolls.
I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I love Celtic music.
look, they're great. The food at those places is fucking phenomenal, and they're all so entertaining, and they just do such a good job of just, again, overall entertainment. Really, really fun time. Didn't expect it, but man, is it fun. So again, Jackdaw's Just Food, 2 main sponsors here at ANYP. For Rob, I am Shane. We will see you guys next week when we diagnose the Jacksonville Jaguars game. Couldn't remember who the hell we were playing already.
The second meaningless football game of the season.
Second meaningless football game of the season. We'll see you next week.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and such over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still have me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.